Hey merfolk, so I'm back and I have been away for, I don't know, 2 months. And the worst part about it is that on my last video I actually said that I had to film a lot more videos, especially for Jolene, who was the wonderful subscriber who sent me all of those gifts, and I failed. I completely failed. Not wanting to get too much into it, I think it was a mixture of all the things that happened following that video, because a lot of stuff happened in my life during that time, and I wasn't feeling so great with all of the imaginary pressure that I put on my head, because nobody's pressuring me to do this. So this is all the pressure that I put on myself. I feel like I owed a little bit of an explanation to Jolene and all of you who actually were excited that I was posting more often. And yeah, this is my explanation. I hope you can understand. I have been very inspired. Actually, I have a ton of ideas for videos, but I feel like I need to get some stuff sorted out before I can get back to this fully. So I am not going to commit or put any pressure on myself to film more consistently. I am just going to go with the flow and see what happens, and maybe in the future I can be more consistent. I don't know. That's my plan. Anyway, this video is going to be quite casual. I am just going to put some makeup on myself and yeah. So lately, sometimes I talk to Dustin Hunter. If you have been following me for a while, you know that I really like Dustin Hunter. I have been a fan of his channel for years. He has been a huge inspiration for me in the past few years while I was building my makeup career. So it's actually really cool that we casually talk sometimes. He's a huge fan of the Joan Collins makeup line, and I was really interested to try it as well, especially the Joan Collins Timeless Beauty Foundation. So he actually sent me samples of all of his shades so I could find my own shade. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use the Joan Collins Timeless Beauty Foundation in Warm Fair, which is actually the more cool toned of the two shades. It's a little bit more pinkish than Cool Fair, but it works on my skin tone. It's slightly, very slightly dark, but you aren't really able to tell. It's a little bit darker than what I usually go for. So now that I have all of these dots on my face, I'm going to go in with my Zoeva 110 Face Shape Brush, and I'm patting that in. As you can see, it has very natural coverage, and it has a beautiful, not too glowy, but dewy finish. Or it has a glowy, but not too dewy finish. That's more like it. And it's really my kind of thing. I really like it. I'm not going to conceal just yet, but I'm going to prime my eyelids with my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This one dries to a very soft matte finish, so it works great as a primer. And I'm going to set that concealer with some of my RCMA No Color Powder. So because it's sitting right here and I have actually been using this every day, I am going to take my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette and go into this golden ochre shade. And I'm going to use this kind of as a transition shade and to map out the crease, and I'm being quite sloppy with it because these eyeshadows actually blend themselves. Contrary to apparently the Anastasia Subculture palette, have you guys been following that soap opera lately? Because I have been having a lot of fun watching those videos. Do you guys have any opinions on what is going on? If you do, please comment down below and let me know, because I'm super into it. I'm not going to buy that palette. I actually don't usually buy palettes, and I have most of those shades in my collection anyway. I would be the most boring anti-hauler in the universe. I would probably just sit there and say, here's what I'm going to anti-haul today. Absolutely everything. I don't usually buy palettes. I don't buy things that I don't need. I am not really into all of these releases. I watch all of the new releases videos for entertainment, and sometimes I do find things that I kind of want to try, but mostly I don't really care. I mean, I have probably more makeup than I will ever be able to finish before it turns bad. I probably don't even have a third of what the smaller makeup YouTubers have, and I actually work as a makeup artist. So this eyeshadow palette, I feel like it would be great for beginners because you don't really have to try and build up the color. They blend seamlessly, so they're really easy to work with, and it feels like for the Subculture palette you have to take a course to be able to use it, which is kind of ridiculous. And you have to use only a couple of eyeshadows and use a very light hand and blah 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 and all of these things. And I mean, I'm sure it's not that hard to make it work, but even so, I mean, do you really need another eyeshadow palette? Do you? I want to be able to make a mess if I want to, and being very carefree like I am doing right now, and not really worry about my blending job. That's what I want in life. I want to be able to do whatever I want and not have to worry. Don't we all? Now I'm taking Chickadee by Makeup Geek, and I'm taking that through the socket, again very loosely. I'm focusing it a little bit more intensely on the inner part of my brow bone. I'm using a dual fiber blending brush, so it's very easy for me to keep everything soft and blended, but I can't really build up the color that much with this brush. So it's just giving me a little bit of a brighter wash of that orange. Do you see this eyeshadow palette and how broken some of the shades look? It was one of my childhood icons who broke it. He's now my client. He's called Paulo Bragança if you're Portuguese. Maybe you remember him from the 90s. And it's all over my face. Shit. He's quite fabulous and androgynous and just my type of person. Anyway, I'm going to go in Butter Cupcake from Sugar Pill, and I'm taking it on a Sigma E35 or 25 brush. I don't know, one of those white goat-haired brushes. These Sugar Pill eyeshadows are amazing and super pigmented, and they don't really swatch well. And they don't have a lot of kickback. So I feel like sometimes in this internet beauty community we are so obsessed with, the way things swatch make better marketing basically. So making very soft, very pigmented eyeshadows makes for a better swatch. Doesn't actually make for better ease of application, if you know what I mean. I feel like the shades in the Subculture palette really remind me of the matte loose pigments that MAC used to make. Not just MAC, but the ones from MAC are the ones I'm most familiar with, and they never really worked well. You really had to be very careful while using them. That wasn't even a thing. People would always go for the shimmery ones because the matte ones don't really perform all that great. Or they can, but they take a lot of work. So why would you go for a matte loose pigment when you can go for a pressed matte eyeshadow that you can actually make work? Anyway, these are just my thoughts. Leave yours down below if you want to. We can talk about it. Of course, this is all extra publicity for the brand, bad or good. It's like that Oscar Wilde quote. What was it? There is only one thing in life worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. So I feel like that is what's happening. Everyone's going to buy the ABH Subculture palette, even if it is just to know if they can make it work. Now I'm going to go in with Flame Point, and I'm going to take it on the inner and outer corner of the socket, but keep the placement a little bit more confined. And because I set my eyelid with a powder, I'm able to create a very soft blend because the eyeshadow has nothing to stick to. So I can build up the pigmentation very, very slowly. Flame Point is very bright, and I want to bring a little bit of earthiness to this orange here. So I'm going back into my Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going to take Realgar, and I'm going to apply it very softly over Flame Point, but just in the socket area. I'm not going onto the lid. Now because I plan on going with more of a peachy pink shade on the lid, and I want to do more of a purple underneath, I think. I'm doing lots of planning today. This look is kind of inspired by a drawing that I did of an eye look that I posted on Instagram a few weeks ago. So I actually kind of know the direction I'm taking, and I know that the eyeshadow that I want to put on the lid is more of a peachy pink, and I know that I want some purple on the outer corners and on the bottom lash line. So I'm going to start blending some pinks in here so that I can more easily blend the purple and the pinky peach. So I'm going to go into Love Letter from the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going to start blending it onto my outer corner. I already know this is going to be a really long video. If you don't like those, I am sorry. I do notice some of you sometimes comment that you wish I did shorter videos, but I just really want to be relaxed, you know? I really feel like I need to relax with YouTube and everything in life in general. I'm using a lot of different shades, but sometimes softly blending shades that are similar but have very different undertones creates more of an interesting type of blend. You get more depth of color that way. I'm also going to take some of that under the eye, just on the outer corner as well. And this is also very entertaining. It's very fun playing with color. I'm also going to take some of that on the inner corner of the eye. I'm going to go into Sugar Pills Poison Plum, which is almost completely shattered. And I'm going to focus this on the very outer corner of the eye, like so, and into the lower lash line. And doing the same thing on the inner corner of the eye. I'm using a smaller and denser fluffy brush just so I can really press the eyeshadow in while blending it at the same time. This is a Luxe Petite Crease brush from Zoeva. I'm also going to blend this purple under my eye bag, create a little bit of a pocket there and make them more prominent. I'm going in with the brush that I was using before that's still dirty from all the other colors. I just took the excess off and I'm going around the edges here just to make them look a little bit softer. Now that I look kind of like a corpse, I'm going to go in with the Colored Rain eyeshadow in Happy Days. I have two of their eyeshadows, both shimmery, and they're both amazing. They remind me of the Makeup Forever eyeshadows that feel almost like a cream shadow, but not quite. The metallic ones, that is. And that is also why with a brush sometimes you can't get them to their full pigmentation, but still I am using a flat shader brush just to get a base down, and then I can go in with a finger or a brush that is wet. Now I'm taking it on my finger. It is becoming more pigmented and shimmery, but because all of the other shades around it are so strong, it isn't really coming through. So I'm probably gonna have to go with something else over top. But right now I'm just going to go back in with some of that purple just to get back some of that deepness on the outer edges. My finger is just too big for under my eyes, so I'm taking it on a small shader brush and I wet it slightly, just filling in that little pocket there. Over top of that, I'm going to take a very fine glitter. This is Inglot Body Sparkles in 59, and this is hopefully going to give us that little pop that we are looking for. Because this is a very fine glitter dust, I don't need to use a glitter glue with it. I can just go in or wet my brush for a little bit more of a pop and precision like a regular eyeshadow. So I'm just wetting my brush with some thermal water, and this is definitely making it a lot more shimmery. I'm also taking some of that under the eye. Now that that is all done, I'm going to go right back into Poison Plum and really pack it on those outer corners and blend the edges so we don't lose a lot of that pigment. I'm going to use now the Inglot AMC Pure Pigment Eyeshadow in 29. It's a very yellow gold. It's more yellow than gold. And I'm going to pop this on my very inner corner. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills brush that comes in the Modern Renaissance palette. It's not a really great brush, but all of my brushes are dirty at this point, so this works. I could also use my finger, but I don't wanna. Now that I have applied it loose and really blended it out, I am going to wet my brush again and apply it a little bit more concentrated on that inner corner. See that? Oh yeah. Now I'm going to try and clean up some of that excess powder that blended down a little bit too far. I'm going to take a really old eye pencil from Avon called Majestic Plum. This is a glimmer stick, and I'm going to throw it in my waterline. I'm not sure if this has gone bad. I don't think so, because I use it and nothing happens. So I like leaving dangerously, so I'm also tight lining with that apparently. I'm taking a tiny little brush just to kind of blend the edges of that because I like to smudge it into my lashes. I'm also going to rub this on my upper lash line as close to my lashes as I possibly can, and just on the outer corner to lift the eye a little bit. So I took a pretty big break. I did my eyebrows off camera as well as my mascara, and I also edited the video so far, and it's about 16 minutes long, which means I am going to keep the face routine to a minimum. I was thinking I might do something more interesting with my face, but that's not gonna happen. I'm using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation stick, which is this thing here, as my concealer. It's the shade 117, which is a little bit more yellow than the foundation I'm using and also a little bit lighter. I'm also taking a little bit extra on the center of my face. Now I'm taking my RCMA No Color powder and I'm just lightly setting my T-zone. For my highlighter, I'm going to take Stila Kitten eyeshadow, which is also a gift from Jolene, and I'm pressing it onto the top of my cheekbones and then taking my brush in circular motions to blend it out. I like to apply my highlighter quite loosely and go right on top of my cheeks, because then I take my blush and my bronzer and it all blends very seamlessly. Whatever's left on the brush, I'm taking on the sides of my forehead, and I'm also going to take my finger and apply a little bit on the bridge of my nose. Then I like to go back in with my foundation brush and make sure everything's seamlessly blended. Now I'm taking a very big powder blush and my Physicians Formula Bronze Booster, which was also a gift from Jolene. And I'm going to very softly take this on the back of my cheeks and into my temples. In the summer for me, I feel like bronzer is an essential because I get patches of color all over my body, and I feel like this kind of brings it all together. Like my head is actually a part of this body that I carry around. For my cheeks, I'm taking another gift from Jolene, my Milani Romantic Rose blush, and the same brush that I used for my highlight. I like doing this because it gives my blush a little bit of a sheen that's complementary to the highlight. And for my lips, I'm going to take one of my new favorite lipsticks. This is the NYX Liquid Suede in Oh Put It On. So yeah, this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one, but it actually helped me ease into this whole talking to a camera all by myself thing, and I had fun. And I actually really like this look, and I hope you like it too. And if you do like it, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click that like button down below. Leave me a comment, because those always make me really happy. Doesn't have to be about the Subculture palette. It can be about anything. As usual, there will be a list in the description box with all the products used in this tutorial, as well as links to all of my social media and other stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye!